It's the crowd. You hear the screaming, but you feel the sound. I feel it hitting my body.
Welcome to another episode of Casual Conversations, Neo Retro 105.9's official podcast. And I am so happy for today's guest because she is an amazing host. She is an amazing person. If you guys want to check her out, she is a host of the Narrow Door podcast, which is available on Spotify and Apple Podcast. The lovely Sam O.
Thank you. It's all true, obviously. Thanks, Rai. Oh my gosh, what a lovely intro.
Thank you so much for dropping by the studios, number one. And number two, full disclaimer, I used to work with Sam for her podcast, and this is such a treat, I think, like just talking to you, like on a one-on-one setup, because I feel like we've never done that in the past.
Absolutely. I mean, we started our podcast like
a year?
Thick into the pandemic, right? When when everyone was just going through lockdown and things were starting to shift online, and so most if not all of our interactions happened online. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, here we are in a booth. By the way, I haven't been to a radio booth in so long.
I remember asking you off the air. I was like, when was the last time you've been to a studio, like a radio studio?
I probably, the day I quit Magic was maybe the last time. And so it's been a couple of years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That long. But you've been to like a podcast studio. And I feel like, if anything, there's little difference these days.
But, I mean, because with look at you now. You have the board in front
Oh,
of you.
yeah, that's true. That's
so
true.
this is not a podcast setup at all.
Yeah.
I went to the Podcast Network Asia studio last time, and we were basically just in a room, sitting around the table and talking into very professional mics, but that was about it. I mean, I feel like the radio setup is a little different. Nakakamiss. And on top of that, we're in the South, and this is the town where I grew up. Also haven't been here in a really long time, so there's a lot of, wow, this is so surreal, like that kind of
Ganito na pala siya ngayon.
Oh.
But again, thank you so much for dropping by because I know you came from Pasig. I want to start all the interviews with this question, which is, how are you? Because we've been through a global pandemic. Everybody's been affected. So I want to know how you've been.
Very well, thank you. No, I think all of us went through this period of like just trying to figure things out because no one knew what to do. My first time experiencing a pandemic. So I'm sure that was a common experience for all of us. But for the most part, I think, I think I did pretty well. I started a podcast and it took a while for the work situation to normalize a little bit. Actually, I'm not sure if it really has even normalized, but things have shifted online. And so I'm still working and, I have my faith and I feel pretty good. What about you? How are you?
This is the thing about having like another radio personality or another host on the show.
No, but that's just good manners. You ask it back. How are you?
That's true. Honestly, I think I told Nicola Sencha this, who was our episode 1 for Casual Conversations. I love her.
Yeah.
She is amazing. I told her one of the things about the pandemic is that I did not pick up a new skill, which I'm kind of disappointed about, because you know how a lot of people have their pandemic glow-ups. Like, a lot of people lose weight, a lot of people, I don't know, learned a lot of new skills. Zero. For me, it's zero. I did not learn anything new. But that being said, one of my realizations about, or at least one of my realizations amidst the pandemic, is that I really have to take care of myself. I mean, of course, aside from the reminders that you see everywhere, like wear a face mask, take care of your health. It kind of went deeper for me. It was more of like, I have to know how to take care of myself on a psychological level, like self-love, self-actualization, and all that. So that's new for me. Ew, me talking about self-love. Ew. No, I can't.
No, but that's true. I think, yes, the physical aspect of the health, obviously, was brought to the forefront. Like, we all suddenly had to be very careful and sanitize and all those things.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of us, like, the mental toll was very real.
It was,
yeah, yeah.
And I'd imagine for a lot of people it still is. Well, as of recording anyway. But for myself, it was more of I realized I was doing so many things and that burnout was a thing.
I could have told you that myself, right? You were doing. He was barely sleeping. This guy.
I was doing so many things, and then the pandemic kind of put a stop to a lot of the things that I was doing, and it made me realize that you know what? I can't remember who exactly said this, but what's urgent is not exactly important. So it made me realize what were the things that were important to me, and what were the things that I was just doing just for the sake of, or wasn't really that relevant to my life, if that makes sense. I don't know if you also experienced the same thing. Like you went through this process of elimination. Oh, wow, I've been doing this and this and this and this, but I don't really need all of that. Like, did you experience that?
I think I just came to a realization of like there was so much stuff in my life that maybe I thought were important, and this is mostly just physical stuff, you know, and I'm sure a lot of girls can relate to this, like the clothes, the shoes, the makeup, the whatever. Oh, you're not going anywhere, so ano na,
Right.
just things like that. There's a lot of clutter in my apartment, and it just made me kind of, I don't know, think to myself like, okay, these are clearly not the important things. But, I think any person off the street could tell you that. That was kind of my thing,
No, but you know what? When you're living a certain lifestyle, I think, and especially if you're busy with work or if you're busy with a lot of things, the things that are obvious tend to become not obvious, if that makes sense. Like from another point of view, a lot of people would say, obviously you're doing a lot of things, Ryan, like just taking myself as an example. But from my perspective, it's like, oh, but I'm getting 2 hours of sleep and that's enough.
Yeah.
But from, an everyday person's perspective, 2 hours is not enough.
Oh my gosh, It's a nap. Right.
Yeah, it is. All right. So for today's podcast, I want to talk to Sam about a lot of things. I want to tackle her career as a host. Of course, everybody knows you as an amazing host, and you are. I want to talk about something on the more personal side. I want to talk about dating, because on the show, on the Narrow Door podcast, you guys tease each other a lot about that, specifically yourself and another host, Instructor Harold. So I want to delve into that a bit later on. And also, I want to talk about the Korean wave that's sweeping the globe. Really?
Speaking of, I come bearing gifts. And we need to, I think we should start by telling them. I have a little bag here.
Okay, so full disclosure, she opened up the bag a while ago and she showed me BTS coffee. And she was saying,
Yes.
oh yeah, I brought BTS coffee. And I was like, BTS has coffee now?
I mean, I don't know if they brewed this themselves.
Probably not.
There's
probably
there's
not.
coffee that has like BTS on the packaging. So yes, I brought you coffee. Would you like the vanilla latte or the macadamia mocha latte?
Vanilla latte, please.
Okay, so this is you.
Well, okay, full disclosure. I'm looking at, for those of you guys who are listening to the podcast, I'm looking at the coffee right now. And I'm probably going to get crucified for this. I
What?
don't know their names. Like, I don't know if this is going to sound racist, but
It's not. Okay, come on. I was on another podcast, and fine, maybe the things that we were talking about there was a little racist, but it's like every little thing that we say about race is like somehow racist. And guys,
I'm
just chillax.
trying to be respectful of the culture. It's so funny because
I mean, yes, many things are racist, but not knowing BTS's names is not racist, I don't think.
that's true. I have a funny story for everybody. One of our producers here at the station also walked in a while ago, and he went ahead and showed Sam something. Oh, I love this! I love this Korean snack. And then Sam looked at it and was like, "The characters aren't even Korean."
Okay, see, that's racist. See? You see the difference now.
But it's just so funny. I think I recognize one of the boys. Boys close kami. But other than that, I'm just amazed at the power
sorry.
that they hold. BTS in general.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Like, I think this isn't just applicable to the Philippines, but they recently had this campaign with McDonald's, and it was basically chicken nuggets, the same thing that you would eat,
And fries
and fries.
with a different sauce.
But because of the packaging and the branding, that it was one of the sauces, I think, was made by the boys. It was their
Oh,
own.
is that right?
Yeah, like they had a hand in creating the actual recipe.
Oh, okay.
And because of that, people were lining up.
Really?
Like the takeout, like the drive-throughs were full, man.
But you're right. I am just blown away by this phenomenon that is BTS, and just the whole K thing that is happening in the world right now. Like, wow.
You know what? You're also one of the go-to hosts, I find. Correct me if I'm wrong.
There's not a whole lot of us who can do this job, by the way. So,
You're one of the go-to hosts when it comes to like having big Korean celebrities over in the Philippines, right?
I got really lucky. I think, once you start hosting a couple of these, you just kind of become the person. Like, oh yeah, she's done it. Let her do it. That kind of thing.
Right.
But okay, can somebody open my coffee? Like, I cannot for the life of me.
Okay, this is where I'm gonna be mapapahiya because I offered to open.
Hey!
I was able to do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And this coffee is lukewarm, so whatever. But
yeah, so going back to you as a host, for big Korean celebrities, like top of your head, like what was the most memorable one for you?
The most memorable one? Oh my gosh. Ooh, yeah, off the top of my head, I will maybe go with Lee Min-ho because he was here a few times, and every time he was here, we'd do a couple of legs. So we would, in one day, we would hit like 3 malls or something like that. And I mean, he would draw such a big crowd. And sometimes we would be at the MOA Arena. He would fill up venues like that. And I think it's not so much him that's memorable. But of course, I mean, he is, obviously. Like, you've seen him, right? Yes.
Yeah.
But it's the crowd. They get so excited. And the screaming, like, you hear the screaming, but you feel the sound wave, like the body, like I feel it hitting my body,
That is crazy.
It's something else.
Crazy.
Yeah, and it was like that everywhere we went.
Did you get to ride a car with him? Because you know how.
No.
God damn! I was gonna ask.
Were you gonna ask me, like, does he smell good? Because some people ask me this. I'm like, guys,
I wasn't going to.
That's kind of.
I wasn't going to, but now that you brought it up. Did he smell good though?
No, everyone thinks that every time I host for these Korean celebrities that we get to hang out all day, and at the end of this trip we're buddy buds. Okay,
right.
That is not the case. They're on a very tight schedule. Sometimes they're doing other things other than the fan meetings. They're doing a shoot, or they're, I don't know, very tight itinerary. And sometimes we get to rehearse the show. So yes, I will see them on stage and do like a quick dry run or whatever. And then we have the actual show. That's about all the interaction that I have with these guys. We're not backstage like kicking it and, just tell me about your life. Like, no, that's not how we do it.
Okay, this might not be related, but because I know another host. Her name is Jelly Victor.
Of course, Jelly. Yes,
Jelly is amazing.
Yes.
So she was hosting this event, and it had David Beckham.
Ooh.
As their he was their endorser. I forget the name of the product and the event. But
I think this was like a life insurance.
Yes, something
right?
like that. But she was able to hang out with him for like 2 hours.
Like in a room?
Yeah,
what?
Yeah. And I was like, the first question was, did he smell nice?
I don't know. Now I want to know too.
The answer is yes. He did.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, man. So from you talking about you hosting all of these big events, I want to know, how did you start becoming a host? Because I know for a lot of people, they know you as the events host. But take me through the journey. Like, what was it like when you first started out, and how did you end up becoming a host?
So that was 2005, I think. And ETC was a cable channel that had just launched. And I would watch this on TV. And they were looking for a host, like a local talent. And I'm not sure if I was like, ooh, okay, yeah, I'd try out for that. I'm not sure, but I do remember my friends telling me, like, hey, you should try out for that. And I was interested in that kind of job. And I was just like, yeah, okay, I'll go try it out. Long story short, I auditioned and I got the job, luckily.
How do you get that kind of confidence though? Like, how do you show up for an audition? I don't know how to do that. Off the air, I was telling Sam, I'm a very insecure person, and I'm self-aware of that. I'm self-aware.
And we all have our insecurities. I have insecurities, of course. And an audition is a nerve-wracking situation. Yeah. But I don't know. I guess you maybe think you could get the job and want it, then you just show up and do your thing.
Is this something that you studied for in college? Like, did you take up a communication-related course, or is this just something that you saw on TV and I'm like, I can do better than that host? Let me get the job.
No, I actually did enroll under the Com Arts program in La Salle. But the way that the program was laid out there was you needed a certain GPA. I probably shouldn't tell this story. It's not good for me. But yeah, so I had plans already na parang, oh, okay, like Com, that's where I kind of want to go career-wise, right? So I get there and I mean, and then I'm fully in the college life, and college is fun, and I had a blast in college, which is basically me.
What was that laughter about?
No, I'm like, you're trying to set up the story, because basically what I'm getting to is like I partied so much in college, okay? And so I had to have a certain GPA to start majoring and actually study what I wanted to study, but I couldn't. And so I had to shift out to a different course altogether. And then I was just like, I'm just going to have to audition for something, or I'm just going to have to find a job, without the college degree and figure it out, which is what happened.
Wow.
I do not recommend this. Okay, please.
No, because a lot of people, I feel like, really, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of people study to become like TV hosts or a presenter in general.
I wish I did.
But you're doing amazing.
But I could have been amazinger.
I'm just thinking right now, maybe the universe plays its cards really well, or in a funny way. You just end up doing what you were supposed to be doing.
I got very lucky, I think. So yeah, but sometimes I wonder how my career would have turned out if I did actually have the formal training for it. But here we are.
Just to share, I also took up BS Nutrition.
You did?
As an undergrad. Yeah, I did.
So you wanted to be what?
At that time, I wanted to be a doctor. Follow in the mom's footsteps and all that.
Okay.
But I realized, much like yourself, I guess, I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. The things that I wanted in life, and then looking at my grades, but there's a bit of disconnect there.
What happened? So what did you do?
Well, what do you mean? What did I do?
So wait, did you finish?
I did. I
you
did.
did though.
I did. But obviously, med school wasn't gonna be.
And then, look at you now. You're hosting a podcast and you're in radio.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You're doing BBC and oh wow,
Thank you.
layo.
Layo. But you know what's funny? Since Sam did mention the BBC, I find it to be at least from that specific company, it's a very Filipino thing to think that I want to pursue news, hence I need to take up a communication course or a media-related course. Well, a lot of journalists and newscasters did that. A lot of the correspondents for the BBC actually took up a different undergrad and then took up a media or a communication-related master's degree. But it's so funny because we'd have correspondents who took up BSIT, who took up like nutrition for myself. There are people who took up psychology. So it's quite interesting.
Well,
it really is.
If you took up BS nutrition, then you can write about health and wellness,
Which is not my which is not my like field. They make me do religion stuff.
Oh,
They do. Religion and
I did not know that. Really?
religion and politics.
Oh my gosh.
Those are my beats.
Wow. The two things you're not supposed to talk about on a date.
Exactly.
Or like in any social situation.
Exactly. Along the way, you auditioned and then you ended up becoming a big host, basically a very successful host. do you mind sharing, if you have any, embarrassing stories of you as a host? Were there any, I don't know, remarkable moments, awkward failures that you had to like overcome as a host? I'm pretty sure there are a couple, because I feel like every events host has that parang embarrassing story.
Yes, but I am so fortunate because I have the worst memory. So I think some people, will have something embarrassing happen to them and it will just be like playing over and over and over in their heads.
Right.
But I don't know, like I have the worst memory, and so sometimes I just forget these things. But I'm sure I have some of them. Like again, off the top of my head, I remember there was one time I wrapped the show. I thought I was done, and girls, like we have to be all like prettied up for an event, and the heels can sometimes start to hurt really bad at the end of a show. So first thing I do is just take off my shoes and get into my slippers.
Right.
And for some reason, the floor director was like, okay, just have like one last thing. Can you come back and just do it like now? And so I had to like go back out there in my slippers.
You forgot.
And I was on a stage,
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's not that embarrassing, is it?
I don't think it is. I don't think people would notice though. Does that make sense?
I mean, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, it's just something that I remember.
Right.
I suppose.
Right.
Let's get back to this question. I'm not sure. Like, what was the most embarrassing? I'm sure there's something.
Not related to you, but I have a friend who hosted something for Duran. And then mispronounced the name.
Durian.
Something like that.
I know what this is.
You do?
No. I love her.
I love her too.
Oh my gosh. Ito na talaga.
Okay.
The worst. Oh my gosh, wait, I'm cringing.
Okay, go. I still can't believe we looking at each other. We're like, we know this person.
No, wait, no. I just now remember the most embarrassing thing that I've ever done as a host.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to like jog my memory a little bit. So I was invited one time to the Korean embassy to host. And it's a very intimidating environment, because all of the diplomats and the ambassadors of the different countries are there invited to this event. And so I'm there, and it's, fancy hors d'oeuvres being passed around, champagne and all that.
Yeah.
So I'm there hosting, and in the middle of my spiel, in my peripheral vision, I can see somebody walk in. And he's a big deal because people were like turning to him, and you can hear the crowd kind of getting excited about this person.
Right.
So in the middle of my spiel, I look, and it is former President Fidel Ramos.
Okay.
Who walks in, right? So
Uh-huh.
So naturally, my job as a host is to acknowledge.
Yes.
So I go, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former president of the Republic of the Philippines, Fidel Castro.
No. No. Is there some? This might be ignorance, but who is Fidel Castro? Is there somebody named Fidel Castro?
Yes.
Who is?
The Cuban? Wait. The Cuban.
That's worse.
It is. No,
That's
it was
worse
so
because there's somebody
bad.
named Fidel Castro.
Yes, and he. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry.
I'm like, I don't even want to know about this person after that, that mix-up. I'm like, I want him just snuffed out of my memory. I don't ever want to think about this person.
Okay.
Fidel Castro, I mean. Okay, so let me just look him up.
So you say Fidel Castro. Mm-hmm. Who told you that you made a boo-boo? Or did you just realize?
No, somebody did. I could hear, after like I said that line, I could hear somebody like
laughing.
No. He kind of walked up behind me and he goes, "It's Fidel Ramos." And I'm just dying. I'm dying.
So what was the ad lib after that?
I probably said something like, "I'm so sorry, it's, Mr. Fidel Ramos." Good thing the crowd was just so excited that he was there.
Right.
So,
right.
I'm sure they were kind of distracted. Or maybe this is what I tell myself so I can sleep at night. But, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can
oh.
imagine. Like the shivers when the shivers after hearing it's Fidel Ramos.
Cuban revolutionary and politician.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was thinking of like a local Fidel Castro.
No.
I was like, is there someone named Fidel Castro? That Fidel Castro.
Yes,
Okay.
that Fidel Castro. And yeah, that was the worst. The worst.
Oh man. Well, I'm just happy to hear these stories because as a host myself, like I do have a lot of boo-boos. And
What's yours? Make me feel better, right? Come on.
okay, top of my head, I'm thinking there was this. So I was hosting UP Fair. So for those of you guys who aren't familiar with what UP Fair is, it's kind of like a 5-day festival where they have different bands per day. A lot of bands, really.
Oh, I've been to one of these. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they got me to host one of the days. And so basically you're there from the start of the festival to the end. 12 noon to, let's say, 12 midnight. Like, that's the gig. And the next band, let's say, for example, is band A. But I ended up saying band B. Okay, so for full transparency, it was Mayonnaise.
Okay.
And then I say, it's Parokya ni Edgar.
Okay.
Which is so stupid.
Oh my gosh. No, you know what's so bad? I'm so sorry. I don't mean to like rub it in.
No. But it's so bad because it's a rock festival. I say it with full on conviction, and like I was so pumped up. It was like, Parokya ni Edgar. Mayonnaise comes out.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Mayonnaise comes out.
Like, I feel bad for the band. Because, they want people to be excited about them. But they got all excited about another band.
I had that because
Sorry.
Parokya ni Edgar is like supposed to be like the final act. I had that shiver down the spine moment. Like if for you as like somebody saying, it's Fidel Ramos. Somebody went up to me and said, "They're the next act, ba." It's main.
So what did you do then?
Well, I couldn't do anything because like I'm sure like when it comes to like these kind of events, once you say your last line, lights go out and then your mic goes out, so the floor director you can't say anything because their VTR starts rolling. So wala.
So the band picked it up na lang, parang
it's a good thing that backstage I was able to meet the band, talk to them and all that. So the front man just said, "Oh, he's a great host, but we're not Parokya ni Edgar." Clarification, Rai, Mayonnaise.
Yeah.
We've been talking for 2 hours.
At least nasalo niya, na funny.
Yeah, it's just so embarrassing.
Man, band events are hard.
I think there's a video of that on YouTube. At least one of my friends like showed it to me. He was like, "Rai, you're the host, right?
Oh god.
You're that person, right?" And I was like, "Yep, it's me."
The internet is forever. I'm so sorry, Ryan. But yeah,
It's
band
fine.
events are hard because
Yes.
I find that because they need to get on stage and then they have to do sound check or adjust so many things. Like you have to ad lib so much.
Yes.
Oh, it goes on forever.
Like when the floor director does this, stretch.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what else to do.
This motion comes out in my nightmares.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Me too. Like, what else do I do? Play games. Acknowledge
Sponsors.
sponsors. Exactly. Oh wow. It's nice to know that even because off the air a while ago you were telling me that you still get nervous to this day.
Every single time. And you would think online events are better, but I just feel like the anxiety is the same. You're just anxious about other things.
That's true.
Yeah, like now it's like, oh my gosh, what if my internet gets disconnected at some point and, they lose me? Even mga ganon.
Yeah.
And, online events are not the same, obviously. Like, I just recently did a fan meeting for Twice, which is, are you familiar with Twice?
I just burped. I'm sorry because of the coffee. But like,
Yeah.
they're the girl group.
They're the girl group.
It's like they're one of the biggest.
Yes. And I mean, literally and like figuratively, because there's 9 of them.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And it was online. And that was my first time to do something like that online. And just, the momentum is a bit different. Because you're kind of broadcasting together from different countries. Just the concerns are different now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, before every single event, I'm so nervous. Like, I lose sleep over it.
I still can't get over that I burped. is where my brain's at. For those of our listeners who are thinking, maybe I can be a TV host, maybe I can be a radio personality, maybe I can get into hosting. Like, what advice could you give?
I feel like these days we have so many resources because back in the day when I was starting out, if you wanted to host, like you really had to do the TV route or the radio route, the events route. But now you can do so much online. like everyone and their mother has a podcast, and you can do YouTube, and I feel like that can be a good starting place for you if you want to kind of put yourself out there. But absolutely do something, which is, I guess, the equivalent of like me just going to the audition and see how it's gonna go.
Which for the life of me, I still can't do to this day.
Have you never been to an audition?
I have, but not with the intent of passing the audition. So not with the intent of like amazing people. Like, does that make sense? Like, I don't want to amaze. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I don't walk in an audition and thinking I'm gonna amaze people. Does that make sense?
So what's your mindset? Like, I'm gonna be so mediocre today. Like, that's my goal.
It's usually I'm the kasama ng friend. Does that make sense? Because okay, for context, like if you want to audition for, let's say, radio, or if you want to audition for like TV, it's usually a long line, and then your friend sama mo naman ako, or something like that. Like so I end up becoming the kasama na lang. Does that make sense?
Yes, but you know how there are a lot of stories of like celebrities who got discovered kasi hindi naman siya dapat yung mag-audition. Sumama lang siya. Tas siya yung na-discover.
How I wish.
But don't you have that mindset like, oh, I wonder if I'm gonna be that person today?
To be honest, no.
Never?
Just because I know the answer. The answer
It's
is
not
no.
gonna happen. Very optimistic. That's Ryan.
Yeah. Let me do a 180 because a while ago I did talk about your podcast. And one of the running jokes on the podcast is all about dating and being single. And one of your co-hosts, one of the panelists on the podcast, his name is Instructor Harold. You guys tease him a lot about this, and yourself included. If you can share with our listeners who might be listening to the Narrow Door podcast as well, and maybe to this podcast, what's the dating situation like? Like, what's up with all the teasing?
Who, me? My dating situation or Instructor Harold?
Let's go with yours first.
My dating situation is there's nothing going on is the situation. I mean, it's, dating is hard. I think it's really more like a compatibility thing.
Interesting. Like, what does compatibility mean for you? Like, is it more on the conversation side? Like, that person has to be a great conversationalist, or food maybe? Or I don't know. Like,
I think it's important that you enjoy some things together. Not all, but like there was this one guy I dated. His whole thing was we need to have like 3 hobbies in common.
Wow.
Yeah.
So specific.
And because his idea was like you need to enjoy the same things together to kind of maintain a relationship, to sustain a relationship. I think there's some truth to that. So yes, similar interests would be helpful, but is it necessary? I'm not sure. I'm not doing a very good job answering this question. What else? What else is there to consider? What do you look for?
But yeah, for me, I think it's important that you're open to, I guess, a lot of things, because I again, like what you said, I am inquisitive. I do ask a lot of questions. So maybe someone who's not sensitive. But as far as physical is concerned, like physical traits, I mean, I think I'm much like yourself. I don't have a specific type.
Yeah.
Oh man, dating amidst a pandemic. Look at us talking about dating.
I know. And, I'm sure it's hard for a lot of people. So, yeah, the online thing, I suppose, is like the most doable way of going about it.
Right.
Are your friends having a lot of success dating online?
You know what? Yes.
Yeah?
Yes, and that's kind of frustrating.
Oh.
Frustrating on my end. Of course, I'm happy for them. But I look at, let's say, friend number 1, and then this friend goes, oh, I met my partner 6 months ago via a dating app, and look at us now. We're on a beach. I look at friend number 2. Oh, I met my partner in another dating app, and look at us now. We're in a different country. Just so crazy.
Wow.
So
but
crazy.
I mean, from what you've just told me, though, I don't think you're trying very hard.
That is true, because I'm still in the process. Oh, biglang nag-open up. I'm still in the process of like self-discovery, if that makes sense, or like I'm still like learning about. I'm trying to take care of myself, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I think I haven't done that a lot in the past few months, maybe like a year plus. So Maybe that's why I'm not trying as hard. And I feel like it sucks to be a hopeless romantic. I'm not sure if you get this, but like I am a hopeless romantic, and I have this very ideal I guess I have this very ideal picture of what love is. And to me, it had to like I needed a friend to literally slap me. And tell me, Ryan, you're not gonna find love in a dating app. And then I mean, it's funny now, but back then I was like, wow, to think that I believe the marketing. By the way, kudos to the marketing of like the dating
people
apps.
do. I think it's the kind of dating app. Gosh, we're just having this conversation on the Good Times podcast. A lot of people, I think, are on dating apps that are obviously for people who want to hook up, and they're looking for serious relationships over there.
Okay.
I'm talking about Tinder. Yes, it's Tinder. Okay.
Okay, I think I'm not that kind of person, but I was genuinely invested in a lot of matches, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like and I was thinking that, oh, maybe this person is the one. And my friend had to like literally slap me. Are you okay, Ryan?
I think I was like that too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like when I was younger, I was very hasty.
Yeah.
About making my mind up about somebody. What mattered most to me was like, am I attracted to this person? Physically, am I attracted to this person? Which is not really the best gauge to go.
That's
for,
true.
a solid relationship. It's nice and it helps, and I definitely would not be with someone I'm not attracted to. But that is not the most important thing. So I can relate to that.
To be young and naive. Well, I'm kidding. I don't want to be young anymore. I keep on telling my friends this. Can I get Adam Sandler's remote, like the
What movie was that? Click?
Click.
Yeah.
Yes, the universal remote that allows you to fast forward through time.
Right.
Can we fast forward when I'm like 50 and rich? Assuming that ever happens. But oh wow, we talked about dating. Thank you so much for being so open, Sam.
Oh my gosh, because there's nothing to talk about really. Nothing's going on, guys.
Another thing that I want to talk to Sam about within the podcast is the whole I don't even know what word encapsulates it. I'm just gonna call it K-wave, because there's
K-wave.
K-pop, there's K-drama, there's food.
Yeah. Can we hit the snacks now? Is that
Yes.
what you mean? Oh
Yes. So again, a while ago, Sam showed us the BTS coffee, which is amazing. Made me burp. But it's so interesting how the world is now. I'm gonna use the word obsessed with the whole Korean culture, I think. What's your take on that? Like, do you think, it's fascinating? Like, as a Korean yourself, like, do you think it's fascinating that the world is fascinated with your culture?
Yeah. I'm also thrilled, of course, as a Korean. Very grateful that they have been so receptive. But yeah, I think predominantly it's like, wow. Yeah, it's kind of nuts in a good way.
Oh.
What K are you into? What's your K?
It's so funny because in Filipino, K means money. Like,
K?
like it's a slang for what's your K, and then like how much money do you have? Anyway,
That's how the young kids say it.
no, I'd say I'm food. Basically, like there was this entire month that I just got Korean fried chicken.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
I ate nothing but japchae. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Is it japchae or japchae?
Japchae.
Japchae. Okay, I'm pronouncing it wrong.
No, that was good.
But yeah, I've been eating nothing but that for an entire month.
Wow.
To this day. Sorry, I'm still on the K wave.
No, but the Korean fried chicken though.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I
Yes.
went through this phase where I was trying to be a vegan, right?
Uh-huh.
And it was fun. Not very sustainable, but I enjoyed it. And I probably did my most creative cooking while I was trying to be vegan. But the thing that brought me to my knees was Korean fried chicken. Oh my gosh.
It's so good.
And
It really is.
Yeah, I mean, fried chicken, you can't go wrong with fried chicken, right? But
That's true.
I don't mean to be all like, ooh, us Koreans, but like, I'm just amazed that they managed to make it even better than just.
No,
like,
I agree.
It's so good.
I agree. It's so good.
What's your favorite? I mean, I'm always on the lookout for really good Korean fried chicken here. Where do you order yours?
Okay, this is gonna sound so cheap.
What?
But
I love cheap.
there's this. I don't even know it's so cheap. I don't even know the name of the restaurant. It's that level of cheap. But it's on a food delivery app. And I just type in Korean fried chicken. It's the first thing that pops up. And I ordered there.
Yeah.
And they have different flavors as well. Which is really great. I feel like I attribute my weight gain to Korean fried chicken.
Oh my gosh, if you eat it every day, yeah, that'll do it.
I'd say 3 times a day.
Oh, right.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
I used to love kyochon. There was a kyochon in
Yes.
and like
Anywhere.
they're closed. Voila. That was my favorite Korean fried chicken and now they're not open.
They're
and
closed now?
I'm heartbroken. Yeah.
Huh. Because in my head, I thought they're still everywhere.
No. And there was only like what 2-3 branches.
Really, ba?
I think so. Yeah.
Of course, bonchon is another go-to for a lot of people. There was a time that I think it was another fast food restaurant that did the whole Korean burger, and my take on that was it's so bad, so bad.
Which one is what Korean burger is this?
It's I'll just bleep it out. It's it's so bad. It really is. They had like the chicken and the beef. They had the chicken and beef counterpart.
Is this the one with the black buns?
Yes.
Was it? Oh, so it was bad.
It was so bad. At least for the ones that I tried. Alam mo yung chicken na ginagamit lang for the fillet.
Oh.
Same chicken.
And then just put it in between buns.
Yes.
And then that's it.
Yes. And then they add like a Korean sauce.
Uh-huh.
But I'm like, nah, it's bad. It's bad. Okay. As someone who only knows, let's say, samgyeopsal and Korean fried chicken, if you had to introduce me to another Korean dish, like what dish would it be?
Have you tried tteokbokki?
I'd have to say no, just because I'm not familiar with the name. But I feel like if you show it to me, I'm gonna recognize it instantaneously.
This is actually the snack version of that. So tteokbokki is rice cakes in a very spicy sauce with fish cakes in it as well.
The soft one.
The soft one.
Yes.
Yes.
The soft one. So ignorant.
The soft one. Oh, that dish. But yeah, this is comfort food for me. I could eat this every day. This is a snack version of that. I think a lot of people like the Korean pancakes, the leek pancakes, kimchi pancakes, that kind of thing.
There's also the tofu pancakes. I'm not sure if that's Korean, but it's served in a lot of Korean restaurants.
Tofu pancakes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Which one is this?
Do I say it? Bulgogi Brothers. Are they Korean? They are
Sounds
Korean.
like it. But I think Bulgogi Brothers is kind of like a Korean franchise restaurant that's Korean. You know what I mean?
Got it.
Yeah.
I'm also holding, for those of you guys who are listening to us on Spotify, I'm also holding a snack which I kind of want to open.
Open it!
Just because it looks like a local version of another snack that I love. What is this?
Pepero. It's but you see this everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is a local version too, I think. Or is it a Japanese version? But yeah, open it. So basically they're, not wafers. They're like cracker sticks that are dipped in chocolate. This one is the almond version. So
Here.
yeah, and there's different
Ta-da!
flavors. It's fun. Let's open one and try it.
Full
Here.
disclaimer, sabi ko pa naman sa sarili ko, I want to lose weight.
Today is not the day.
Not today. But I am so interested in like other cultures' food, if that makes sense. Just because I took up BS nutrition, and they keep on telling us that there's actually history behind every dish, right? Do you have any fascinating stories about like the history of a Korean dish?
No. wait.
Full on confidence. No.
I mean, kimchi, I suppose, is like the most famous, right? And I think I'm like debating in my head, should I say it when I'm not 100%? Because I'm thinking it's kind of like, the idea was to preserve, right? Because there are 4 seasons in
Right,
Korea.
yeah.
There are only certain times of the year where you're going to get fresh produce. So while it's abundant, you want to put some away. And kimchi is a way of preserving. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that's where it started. And if it's not, then let's just not air that. You know what I mean? Simple.
The beauty of a podcast.
Yeah.
Another thing, and I feel like I keep on mentioning this, is that Sam brought up Sam brought BTS coffee. And when she did, I was like, BTS has coffee?
I mean, at this point, I just feel like, what is BTS not on?
Oh, that's true.
You know?
That's true. I want to get your take on Korean music being mainstream now. And I'm not even sure if that's ignorant, because maybe they've been mainstream for a long time and I just haven't been like listening to a lot of them. But BTS is #1 on the Billboard charts. Blackpink is everywhere. Twice is everywhere. Blackpink even had that collaboration with Selena Gomez.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yes. What's your take on Korean music being mainstream now?
I mean, it is such... I still get, like... I'm still fascinated when I walk into, say, a convenience store and the music that's playing is Korean. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, yes, K-pop has been around for a very long time, but yes, you're right. For it to be this mainstream, I mean, we've really, like, took a turn. And... I don't know, maybe for some people who have been deep into the K-pop for a long time now, maybe this isn't, a new place that we're in. But that's where I am, where I'll step into a restaurant or I'm at, I enter a store and the music I hear is Korean. Like, that's still trippy to me.
I'm going to say something really bad.
Wait, do radio stations play Korean songs?
They do.
Oh.
They do. And not necessarily just the ones that are sang in English. Because I hear BTS tracks all the time. Like, for example, I hear Idol on other stations. And that is mostly in Korean with just a little bit of English.
Yes, that's what I mean. I hear Korean in the background.
Yes. Which I feel like... do you think it will ever come to a point where it's the Philippines' turn? Is what I'm thinking right now.
I really hope so.
Because you know how the world basically embraced the entire Korean culture. Like there's Korean beauty, even like skincare products, music. As I was talking about, BTS, very big. Not just here in the Southeast Asian region, but also in America, in Europe.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking, top of my head, I was like, I hope that Philippine culture will also be embraced in such a way, and if ever it will be, I wonder who's gonna be like the ambassador for that.
Who comes to mind for you?
Honestly, nobody. Nobody.
Oh.
As of the moment, nobody. Like I can't think of anybody who can be as big as BTS. For I guess for the closest one that I have right now would be Liza Sobrano, just because of the whole Trece Netflix series, which I guess for the most part really did capture a big global audience as well.
Yeah, something like Netflix, platforms like that, I think really helped to get the word out.
But as far as musical artists are concerned, I can't think of one. But it's so funny because I can't remember if it's Christian Bautista or Mark Bautista. Should have done my research.
One of the Bautistas.
One of the Bautistas. Who isn't as big here in the Philippines. I mean, still big, of course. But apparently is bigger in a different country.
Oh.
Which is so interesting to me. How did that happen? I don't know. But the short of the long is I'm just hoping that one of these days the Philippine culture would also be embraced by other countries.
Same. And I guess it's got to start with one of those streams. I don't know if that's the right word. But
you were going to say start with one of those Bautistas.
And maybe he's a Bautista. I don't know. But you know how like streams, meaning is it K-food, the pop, the drama, the beauty? Because I feel like food is maybe something that is starting. Do you remember like there was a whole ube craze not too long ago?
Amidst the pandemic, the ube pandesal.
Yeah. And even in the States, like, they were all about the ube.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
So I feel like maybe that has like a bigger appeal to a bigger audience. Because I mean, food, like we all eat food, and we like trying different kinds of food and that kind of thing. So yeah, maybe it's not that far away.
Maybe, hopefully. When you see Filipinos try to get into the whole Korean wave, how do you feel about it? Because, for example, one specific thing that comes to mind is a lot of Filipino boy bands now, the pop boy bands at least, are emulating the whole Korean style of pop music. Like, how do you, when you? I don't know if you've seen any of these said boy bands, but
Are you talking about SB19?
let's try my best not to name drop. But how do you feel whenever you see Filipino artists emulate, let's say, K-pop?
I think it's so flattering. I mean, for me, it's like, again, like what is the saying? The sincerest form of flattery is imitation.
Yes.
So I just feel like, oh my gosh, they love it so much and they want to do it themselves. I love it. I love it. I know not everyone sees it that way, but for me, it's just like, it's so heartwarming.
That is so true.
But how do you receive that as a Filipino? Because, like, again, we were talking about this on Mo's podcast, and for him, it's like, or I heard him talk about it. For him, it's like, because they're talented, and so I wish they took that talent to represent something Filipino rather than try to emulate something Korean. That was his take on it. How do you feel about that?
I would have to agree with him. Just because, but also, who am I to box what OPM is? Like, who am I to box like what Filipino music is? Because I think for a lot of people, there's still no specific style as to what OPM is. Like Filipino pop music, at least, there is no specific style for it. So who am I to say that that's not OPM, right?
That's a good point. Like, how would the music change?
Exactly.
How would the look be? How do we represent Filipino? Other than, of course, they are Filipino.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in my head, and I shouldn't have done this because I should have done my research, but like the top of my head, I'm thinking that's still pretty much OPM. Obviously inspired by a different country, but who am I to say that that's not OPM and they should focus their attention to or focus their energy in representing something more Filipino, like what? Filipino folk dance? I don't know. Like what diba? What is Filipino OPM? I don't know. I'm not one. Maybe I'm just not in a position where I'm knowledgeable enough to say what is OPM. But I like it. Like I think they are talented. They are great dancers. I gotta be honest, singing part.
Okay, honestly, I'm not like familiar with their music, but yeah, I mean, but I am aware that they are Filipino and they're like a boy group, like a K-pop.
I think more than anything, they're visual. Does that make sense? Like you watch them, of course they don't sound bad, but they're not exactly like great singers either, in my opinion. But the visuals of it all, like you pay for, I think, a show, or you pay for a performance, and they deliver. They are amazing at it. And
okay.
I agree with them. It's the short of the long. Like, where am I going with this? I don't know. I agree with him. Is what I'm saying. Oh my gosh, we talked about dating. We talked about you as a host.
Are we done? Are we?
I think so.
No.
Oh, wait. Okay, so. For those of you guys who are watching us on YouTube, we still have a lot of things that I think we can go through rather.
I feel like parang I should tell you more about like what other Korean foods. Ba?
Instead of like the snacks that you brought.
Well, the snacks too. Okay, so this I'm trying for the first time myself. But this is a classic snack from my childhood, choco pie, which is usually the classic version is like brown. I mean, because it's the chocolate that's outside. This is a version. It's an injeolmi version. Injeolmi is Korean rice cake that's rolled in like bean powder, and apparently that is the flavor of this.
Isn't that? This is gonna sound so ignorant, but isn't that the same thing? The same parang material that they use. Material. the same food item that they use for the Korean ice cream, like the one that's kind of like a sandwich.
Which one is this? Oh, the fish. The
yes,
fish one?
yes, the fish one.
No,
because
that's red bean.
Red
bean is different. This one is like what is this? Yellow. Well, the powder is yellow. But can you try it?
I will.
I'm on the fence about it. If I like it or not.
And it's so funny when you said this is a Korean snack from my childhood, and you said choco pie, and I'm like, oh, me too.
So straightforward, right?
Hold on, let me open it. Okay, this is a sign I need to go to the gym. Can't even open a snack. There you go. I feel like we're doing ASMR now, which is I'm a big fan of.
Oh my gosh, I love watching mukbang. Mukbang, mukbang is a Korean word, right?
Yeah.
That tripped me out too. That suddenly people were saying mukbang all over the world. And I'm like, mukbang is a Korean word.
This is number one. This is good.
Do you like it?
I like it. I
I just feel like it's just sweet.
I feel like it's one of those parang snacks for kids. Does that make sense? Like I would definitely buy it for my child.
Yeah, yeah.
Number two, what does mukbang mean in Korean? Like, because I come to understand the word as vloggers eating something on screen.
I mean, that's pretty much it. I think mukbang is the abbreviated word for like an eating broadcast.
Huh. Okay, cool. Very straightforward. I thought it meant something else, and then people just used it.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's that. Okay, Ryan
We also
likes this.
Yes, we also have
Gobok chip, which is like
Churros?
a churros flavor. Yes. But the thing about this is it's like a layered chip. So that's the churros flavored one. This is, again, injeolmi. I think this is a current trend. Same flavor.
it's so funny because I'm just happy that parang in terms of packaging, the Korean snacks kind of look like the Filipino snacks. Like there's that parang quintessential celebrity.
Or like remember the notebooks where they were. Oh, is that super old? Do you not see those anymore? Here.
Sorry, what were we gonna say?
No, like the notebooks with the artistas on the cover. Do they still have those? I don't see those anymore, but that used to be such a thing when I was young. Here. Oh my gosh, are you really that young? Oh, forget it.
I'm thinking, parang no. I think like back in my day, the as far as notebooks are concerned, it's usually the ones that are ano na, parang cartoon characters. If that makes sense. I've never seen one. I've never seen one of my
Back in
artista.
the day, like 200 years ago, right?
So you're telling me there's a Piolo Pascual notebook out there?
Probably. Probably. So that, and then this one is like the same chip, but it's the corn soup version. Koreans really like corn. Like sweet corn. Like they have Cheetos that are sweet corn flavor, which I don't get, but it's a thing. This one, okay, so this one. When I was a kid, I used to eat instant noodles, ramyun, like it was chips. So I'd break it up inside the bag.
And
And then I'd
fry
open it. No, and then I'd open it. And then I would get the seasoning powder and toss it in the seasoning powder. And that would be like my chips.
without doing anything to it.
Oh, yeah. Like I would eat it raw. And I still do this. But I mean, it's such a thing that they just made chips out of it. So this is not ramyun. It looks like ramyun, but they're just chips.
That's actually a big trend on TikTok. Pasta chips.
Ooh. What is this?
Okay, so basically people get pasta, they fry it, and then make it into chips. It's a TikTok trend. The kids
Okay.
these days are into it.
Well, we started it first. Okay.
Oh, sorry. To clarify, there are different variants of the pasta chips. Parang there's also one where they use air fryers.
Ooh.
So
Oh, that's something that I want to get my hands on.
an air fryer.
Yeah. I mean, I don't watch a whole lot of Korean mukbangers, but the ones that I do watch, they'll air fry everything. And apparently it makes it all better.
And healthier, apparently.
Well, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah, if you're not going to use a ton of oil.
Yeah.
But,
Another thing that since we're talking about K things, K beauty. I tried looking like a beauty vlogger do her makeup like Korean style, and the video's 30 minutes long.
and then she just looks like just a little more polished version of herself, right? Because that's what I noticed with the Korean makeup is like, they're not super ma-eyeshadow, ma-contour. Like their thing is to look like the perfect version of your face, but you're made up. But you don't look like you're made up. Do you understand what I mean?
Yes, but at the same time, for the specific beauty vlogger that I looked up, she looked like a different person altogether.
Oh, at the end of it. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
there are definitely, makeup YouTubers like that. But for me, with the whole K-beauty thing, as much as I would love to explore and just try all the different products that are out there, I have the most sensitive skin. And so pretty much everything will break me out. So I stick to the most boring, basic products. And then everyone is going on about the glass skin. Like they think Koreans have that glass skin. I don't have that skin. I resent this. I resent this trend.
I disagree.
No,
ma'am.
No. And I'm wearing makeup right now. So, this is me with makeup. But
Okay.
I don't know. Personally for me, like I feel a little pressure about that whole like glass skin situation because that is not what my skin looks like.
While we're talking about it, I think the Korean beauty of standards is also quite different from, let's say, the Filipino standards of beauty.
Yeah.
And this is so interesting. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. But one of my friends who studied in Korea said this. The male standards of beauty, for example, in the Philippines kasi, males aren't exactly expected to look nice. I know that sounds bad, but marketing to make the Filipino man more presentable isn't exactly mataas yung budget, if that makes sense.
Okay.
But in Korea, the standards for male beauty is higher now than the female standards of beauty. Is that true? Is that true? Do you find that to be a correct statement?
What do you mean? Like, the guys' standard for what's
there's
beautiful?
more pressure for guys to look more presentable than the girls now in Korea. I mean, from what my friend was telling me, of course, definitely, there's also pressure for women to be presentable. But unlike the Western counterparts and, let's say, the Filipino counterparts, mas mataas pa rin daw yung pressure for guys to look presentable compared to their female counterparts. Is that true?
Really? I'm leaning no. I still think it's the girls.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel I do see though that there is a trend of guys caring a lot more about skincare, and now they're just going into the like full on makeup.
Yes.
I see ads for makeup, and the models are guys, so I think they're definitely moving into that space. But for the pressure of like having to look good and presentable, I still think it's the girls who are
Because what my friend is telling me, as far as, again, male standards of beauty is concerned, because of the rise of BTS and the other idols, as what they're called, people now expect na all Korean guys look like that.
This is what I mean, right? Like, because people see the Kdramas and everyone is so poreless and flawless.
Yes.
They think any Korean off the street looks like this, and it's just not true. Me being exhibit A, okay? Like, but yes, it does. I do feel pressured about this. Like, oh my gosh, do they expect me to look like that because I'm Korean? Because I don't. So I can, maybe it's kind of like there is new pressure on men now that maybe was not there before because they're moving into the whole cosmetic thing.
Right.
Yeah.
What about skincare routine? Do you also prescribe to? I know you said you have sensitive skin. But as far as skincare routine is concerned, do you also prescribe to like the 12-step Korean I don't know beauty there's a specific word for it. Where they clean the face and then parang there's different oils pa for it. There are different serums for it. And it's a 12-step process. Do you also prescribe to that specific Korean beauty regimen?
That is a recipe for a breakout for me.
Still, even without makeup.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even talking about makeup that breaks me out. It's the skincare. Yeah. So I as much as I want to do that, I couldn't. But I mean, really, who has the time? 12 steps? Like, are you kidding?
Apparently, a lot of people.
Do you do that?
No.
Yeah.
But it's also that's why I have horrible skin.
But well, you don't. This BB cream is really working for you. If it's
thank
the BB
you.
Cream,
I was about to ask you, can you grade my makeup skills on a scale of 1 to 10?
This just looks like your skin, and I think that's the effect naman that we want to go for. Like, I just rolled out of bed. And,
I look like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we covered K-music, beauty. We also covered K-food. What am I missing out?
K-drama. Are
K-drama!
you watching K-drama?
No.
You're not?
No.
Are you not into that?
Not that I'm not into it, but I haven't had the time to get into it. I do know. I'm not sure if you watch Suits, which is a American TV series. There's a Korean counterpart to it now.
Oh.
So that's interesting to me. I like if ever I'm gonna get into K-drama, that's the first thing that I would wanna watch, I think. But do you think K-drama is as big in Korea? Or rather, do you think K-drama is as well received in Korea, comparing it to how well received it is outside of the motherland?
I mean, they definitely are big in Korea, but I think maybe because when you're in the country, that's just regular fare on TV, right?
Oh, that's true.
And I feel like maybe outside the country, parang people are crazier about it. I don't know. Is my assessment that I did not think about at all. But yeah.
No, but I get that. My analogy for that would be kind of like Chicken Joy. Like, you know how everybody loves Chicken Joy, but it's. I mean, not saying that it's not big, but it's pretty normal when you're a Filipino living in the Philippines,
Right.
and then when you go outside, everybody asks you like, or if somebody asks you, "Are you Filipino?" and they're like, "Yeah," and they go, "I love Chicken Joy."
And I love Chicken Joy too, but I get this analogy.
Yeah,
It's a treat outside.
Exactly. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay. So we got K-drama, we got food, K-pop, beauty. I think we covered it all.
I think we did.
We did.
Look at us.
Look at us accomplishing a pod. As if we don't do this on a daily basis.
I don't on a daily basis.
But again, I wanted to say thank you so much for dropping by the Neo Retro 105.9 studios. I appreciate it. I appreciate the food, the coffee, and of course the conversation. Thank you so much. Before we let you go, if you could leave our listeners with, let's say, one main takeaway from our entire conversation, if that's even possible, because we talked about so many things, what's like one thing you would want to leave our listeners with, like a general message, I guess?
Guys, this is like a tough question. But before I get to that, I want to thank you guys for having me as well. This was so fun, and being back in the South was Does that sound so konyo? Sorry, cut the konyo part out. I don't think that's like...
No, we're not cutting it. No, but it's so true though.
The South, like, you know what I mean?
People have that idea of us, no? People who grew up in, say, Parañaque, Las Piñas, Muntinlupa, they're like, oh, South people.
Yeah, diba?
Yeah.
No, but being back here in the town where I grew up, like, because I knew that this was where the station was, but I don't know why it didn't occur to me. Like, do you realize you're gonna see the town that you grew up in? So yeah, that was a nice surprise to start my day. So thank you for that. And yes, this conversation was very fun. Gosh, take away from this conversation? What are you thinking?
That's such a host thing to say.
What's our takeaway?
I laugh just because that's such a host thing
What?
to say. Like, if you don't know what you're gonna say next, parang you ask another person. That's one of the tricks.
I don't know why. I just was not expecting this question.
Oh no. From my take, I guess my general takeaways from my conversation with you is that number one, we're all insecure about certain things, because that's one of the messages that I got from you, because I was sharing about how, like, I am self-aware that I'm an insecure person. I would never go to auditions and think I'm gonna amaze people with my skills. No, that's like the exact opposite of my mindset. But I'm not to bring you down or anything like that, but I'm just happy to know that even people who are years in the industry and who are amazing at what they do still feel nervous.
Oh my gosh.
So I think that was one of my main takeaways. Na parang, yeah, you know what? I'm very new to the industry in a sense, so I still have a lot to learn. But I take comfort in the fact that even those who have been doing it for years, they still learn and they still feel nervous. So that was one of my main takeaways from our conversation. Dating, I have no takeaway from my conversation. It's like,
Yeah, me neither.
dating app, go guys, dating apps, go. Kung gusto nyo. And as far as like the K-wave is concerned, my main takeaway is Korean fried chicken is amazing.
It
and
really is,
you
though.
validated that train of thought. So
Yeah.
I will order that for dinner once again.
Thank you for that summary of our conversation today, Ryan. Fantastic. Yeah, I guess for me too, we're all going through this difficult time
Yeah.
together, and maybe when you start focusing just on your life and how bad you have it and how stressful this is and whatever, you kind of forget that, hey, it's not easy for anybody right now. And I hope that this conversation kind of got their mind off whatever they were worrying about during this time. And yeah, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to figure this out.
Yeah, I
And,
agree.
Yeah. When you're having a particularly rough day, go get a snack at your Korean grocery store and park your butt in front of Netflix and pick a K-drama. Okay?
That is so true. Thank you so much, Sam, for dropping by. Where can people find you? And if there's anything you want to plug, please go.
Yes, I do a podcast called the Narrow Door Podcast. It is an ecumenical podcast, meaning we just talk about anything that is under the Christian umbrella. So that is on YouTube and Spotify under Podcast Network Asia. And I'm on Instagram at I am Sam O.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you so much, Sam.
Thank you.
And that was another episode of Casual Conversations. Catch you guys again next time. Bye!
Bye! 안녕하세요. This is Sam O. Thank you so much for having me on Neo Retro 105.9's Casual Conversations. Only on the one.